The first light of dawn slipped over the horizon like a whisper, casting a pale gold glow across the Serengeti plains. The air was still cool, carrying the earthy scent of wet grass and distant acacia trees. In the quiet moment before the world awakened, the land held its breath, waiting for the rhythms of life to begin again. A soft rustle came from a patch of tall savanna grass, and out of it stepped a lioness, her silhouette outlined by the rising sun. Her muscles rippled beneath her tawny coat as she paused, amber eyes scanning the plains with the measured calm of a seasoned hunter. Nearby, her cubs stirred in the shadows, stretching their small limbs after the night's rest. Far across the grasslands, herds of wildebeest began to move in slow, rolling waves, their hooves drumming lightly against the soil. This was the start of another relentless day for every creature that called this ancient land home, a place where survival depended on instinct, timing, and the fragile balance between predator and prey. The lioness lifted her head, sniffing the breeze, catching the faint scent of opportunity. She nudged her cubs gently, urging them back into the safety of a shallow den before setting off in the direction of the distant herd. The plains shimmered under the strengthening light, blurring into an endless sea of gold. Not far away, a solitary elephant bull trudged steadily, his massive frame dwarfing the shrubs and grasses around him. Deep creases along his skin mapped decades of migration across the plains. His tusks, long and curved like ancient ivory scimitars, glowed softly in the morning sun. Each step he took was deliberate, his ears flapping occasionally to dispel flies and regulate his internal heat. He paused to uproot a clump of grass, curling it expertly with the tip of his trunk before bringing it to his mouth. Birds perched fearlessly on his back, plucking small insects from the folds in his skin. His calm presence seemed almost timeless, as though he were a guardian of the land itself. In the far distance, a lone cheetah perched atop a termite mound, her slender body poised with elegance. Her eyes were fixed on a group of impalas grazing peacefully near a cluster of acacias. Her breathing was slow, controlled, every fiber of her being attuned to the slightest shift in the wind. She was built for speed, an evolutionary masterpiece capable of explosive velocity that could turn the calm of the plains into a storm of motion within seconds. But she waited, patient and calculating, conserving her energy for the precise moment when instinct and opportunity aligned. Above the plains, the sky transformed into a canvas of motion as flocks of lilac-breasted rollers and weaver birds burst into flight. Their wings shimmered in vibrant hues, turquoise, violet, gold, creating fleeting rainbows against the soft morning light. The calls of distant hornbills mingled with the deep rumble of migrating hooves. From the branches of a thorny acacia, a troop of vervet monkeys chattered energetically, leaping from limb to limb with practiced agility. Their playful antics masked the very real dangers that lurked in the tall grass below. A young vervet, curious and adventurous, ventured too close to the edge of the tree. Its mother screeched a warning, but before the sound fully echoed across the plains, a shadow rippled through the grass. A python, thick-bodied and silent, uncoiled with eerie precision. The young monkey froze, instincts taking hold just in time for it to scramble upward, narrowly escaping the serpent's lunge. The mother gathered her trembling offspring close, grooming it gently. Danger was interwoven into every moment of life here, a constant force that shaped behavior, movement, and the very evolution of the species that survived. As the sun climbed higher, the heat intensified, stretching across the land like an invisible blanket. The lioness continued her trek toward the wildebeest herd, her paws silent against the dust. She moved with fluid grace, keeping to the shadows cast by scattered shrubs. The herd, unaware of her presence, grazed peacefully. Their dark bodies dotted the plains like ink strokes on parchment. Calves stayed close to their mothers, occasionally nudging them for reassurance. A breeze swept across the plains, carrying with it the scent of water from a far-off riverbed. At that same riverbed, a scene of life and struggle unfolded with equal intensity. Crocodiles lay motionless along the muddy banks, their armored bodies half submerged in the murky shallows. They appeared lifeless, but beneath their stillness was a lethal patience honed over millions of years. A group of zebras approached cautiously, their ears twitching and nostrils flaring as they tested the air. The water was essential for their survival, but each step toward the river's edge was filled with tension. A stallion took the lead, lowering his muzzle to drink. A ripple disturbed the surface, nearly imperceptible, but enough to send a shockwave of fear through the herd. The crocodile lunged in a sudden explosion of power, jaws snapping shut with terrifying force. The stallion reared back, hooves thrashing wildly, water flying in all directions. The zebra escaped narrowly, scrambling to safety with a deep gash across its flank. The herd bolted, kicking up clouds of dust as they fled from the riverbank. In another part of the Serengeti, a family of giraffes moved with slow, swaying elegance. Their long necks stretched toward the treetops, tongues curling around tender leaves. Their patterned hides blended beautifully with the dappled light filtering through the canopy. A calf stood close to its mother, occasionally nudging her as it practiced its balance on long, awkward legs. Despite their size, giraffes were often targets for lions, especially the young and inexperienced. The mother kept a watchful eye on the horizon, her keen senses constantly alert for predators. As midday approached, the plains fell into a heavy silence. Most animals sought refuge from the scorching sun, retreating into the shade of acacias, boulders, or burrowed dens. The cheetah lay stretched out beneath a sparse patch of bushes, panting lightly as she preserved her strength. Her hunt would have to wait for the cooler hours. Vultures circled lazily overhead, scanning the land for the first signs of death. Their sharp eyes could detect movement from incredible distances, and their appearance often preceded the inevitable outcome of predator-prey encounters. The lioness, now positioned downwind from the wildebeest herd, crouched low. Her tail flicked slightly, a subtle sign of her inner tension. She had chosen her target, a young wildebeest lingering near the edge of the group. The distance between them closed gradually, her paws moving with silent precision. Then, in an instant, the air shifted. A bird shrieked overhead, and the wildebeest lifted its head, sensing danger. The lioness sprang from the grass, a blur of power and intent. The herd erupted into motion, hooves pounding the earth as they scattered in panic. The young wildebeest sprinted desperately, legs moving faster than they ever had. Dust flew in chaotic spirals, and for a heart-pounding moment, the chase seemed uncertain. But the lioness, driven by instinct and survival, lunged forward with a final burst of speed, bringing the wildebeest down in a flurry of movement. The struggle ended quickly, and silence returned. As the lioness caught her breath, the first signs of scavengers appeared. Hyenas emerged from the shadows, their cackling calls echoing across the plains. Vultures descended in slow spirals, landing nearby with patient anticipation. The lioness growled deeply, asserting ownership over her hard-won meal. Her cubs, sensing her victory from afar, crept cautiously from the den and approached her. She allowed them to eat, licking their fur gently as they fed. This kill would sustain them for days but would also draw an entire chain of opportunistic animals, each waiting for their turn in the cycle of survival. Toward the edge of the Serengeti, where the plains met clusters of dense woodland, a hidden world bustled with life. A leopard, spotted and stealthy, lay sprawled across the branch of a massive fig tree. Her golden eyes scanned the forest floor below. She had recently dragged an impala carcass into the high branches, safe from the jaws of hyenas and lions. Her sleek tail swayed rhythmically as she rested, conserving energy for the evening ahead. The forest around her was alive with movement, bushbucks stepping lightly through the undergrowth, hornbills pecking at ripe fruit, insects buzzing in the humid air. The leopard's presence was almost ghostly, a silent predator perfectly adapted to her environment. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, its glow painted the sky in shades of crimson and orange. The heat began to dissipate, stirring the animals back into activity. Nocturnal creatures emerged from their dens, genets with their masked faces, porcupines with their sharp quills rustling softly, and aardwolves sniffing the air for termites. The Serengeti transformed into a realm of sound. Crickets chirped rhythmic melodies, frogs croaked near waterholes, and distant howls carried across the wind. Back near the riverbed, the crocodiles shifted, disappearing beneath the surface with quiet ripples. Hippos yawned, revealing massive jaws lined with powerful teeth. They lumbered from the water as darkness settled, grazing on the short grass under the moonlight. Their grunts and snorts filled the air, their bulky bodies casting long shadows across the land. In the cool twilight, the cheetah returned to her hunting perch. The impalas were more relaxed now, unaware of her watchful gaze. She rose slowly, stretching her slender body. The moment had come. She slipped through the grass, lowering herself until she was almost invisible. Her muscles coiled beneath her skin, ready to unleash the raw speed that defined her species. With a sudden burst, she dashed toward the impalas, the wind roaring past her ears. Her legs moved in a blur, covering distances in heart-stopping leaps. She singled out a young impala, its panicked bleats echoing across the plains. The chase was swift, but tonight it ended in failure. The impala veered sharply, leaping into thick brush where the cheetah could not follow. Panting and exhausted, she slowed to a stop, her breath heavy. She would try again another day. Her survival depended on it. Night settled over the Serengeti like a velvet curtain, revealing the brilliance of a sky ablaze with stars. The Milky Way stretched above in a shimmering river of light. The plains glowed softly under the moon's silver touch. Lions roared in the distance, their deep calls resonating through the night, asserting dominance, marking territories. A herd of elephants, led by an experienced matriarch, traveled toward a secluded waterhole. The calves stayed protected within the circle of adults, their small trunks swinging playfully as they walked. The matriarch paused occasionally, listening for distant threats, her wisdom guiding the herd safely through the darkness. A soft breeze rustled the dry grass, carrying with it the sense of earth and life. The plains, though dangerous, were a sanctuary, one that had endured countless generations of change and migration. Every creature here played a role in maintaining the delicate equilibrium that sustained the ecosystem. From the smallest insect to the largest predator, their stories intertwined in a tapestry woven by time, evolution, and survival. As the lioness lay curled beside her cubs, the soft purr of contentment rumbled through her chest. The wildebeest herd, though shaken, regrouped under the watchful eyes of the older members. The giraffe calf slept soundly beside its mother, confident in her towering presence. The zebra stallion, wounded but alive, found safety within the protective circle of his herd. Life persevered, adapting to every challenge and danger the land presented. With the moon high in the sky, the Serengeti breathed in unison, a vast, living organism pulsing with stories untold. The land was ancient, yet constantly reborn with every sunrise. It held the memories of hunts, migrations, births, and battles. It held the legacy of every creature that had ever walked its plains, flown across its skies, or hidden within its shadows. And as the stars shimmered overhead, casting a gentle glow across the sleeping grasslands, the world of the Serengeti continued its eternal rhythm, a reminder of the fragile, powerful beauty of nature, and the endless stories that unfold in places untouched by time.